Welcome to the Fierce as Fuck podcast. My name is Amanda King, and I help women step out of the fear that is holding them back and into six-figure sales. This podcast will teach you how to grow your business organically without all of the bells and whistles. Yep, that's right. No websites, no sales funnels, none of that shit needed here. I grew my coaching business from $0 in sales to $100K in 3 months. And now it's my mission to teach you to do the exact same thing. So let me ask you this. Are you ready for some epic shit? Hello, everybody. First and foremost, I want to start this podcast episode off by thanking all of you because my podcast downloads have been going through the fucking roof the last 2 months, and I couldn't be happier. Just to give you all like a little bit of like statistics, our highest month ever in downloads on the podcast was last month, which was October. I don't even know what month it is anymore. And we were at 3,100 downloads for the entire month. And I celebrated the shit out of that. That was by far the highest month. I think the closest to that was like maybe 2,000. And then this month, the month of November, decided to show the fuck up, and we are almost at 9,000 downloads. And we still have 2 more episodes this month. So I am just flabbergasted and just so very fucking humbled. That each and every single one of you guys keep downloading the episodes, you keep sharing it, I keep getting DMs from you. So I wanted to start off by saying thank you, because we also hit 50,000 download mark, which we literally just celebrated 40,000 like not even a month ago. So it's insane and it's beautiful, and thank you. So let's get into this week's episode because it's an important one. We are going to discuss insecurities when it comes to sex. And one of the reasons is because I receive so many messages, in particularly from women, that are asking me questions on how to make their O face look better or how to make themselves look better during sex. And honest to God, it breaks my heart. And I haven't really spoken about this. I've spoken about like vulnerability and oral sex a few episodes ago, but I want to discuss this one specifically because women are so paranoid and insecure when it comes to sex, and rightfully so. This is not me saying this from some fucking pedestal. This is me understanding the struggle that every single woman goes through in discovering her sexuality and embracing sex for something that is positive rather than something she should be shamed for. And it is so hard to recognize how conditioned we are to think that we need to show up a certain way during sex. And one of the comments, like I said, I just got an Instagram DM today or a question that was like, how do I make my O face look better? Because when I'm watching myself, whether probably in a mirror or maybe she recorded herself while masturbating, I don't like how my O face looked. When we look at sex as a whole and we look at men and women, and when I refer to men and women, I mean of all genders, no matter what you identify as, men typically tend not to give a fuck about anything when it comes to sex. Sex to them is, yes, it's an act of intimacy and connection, just like it is for women. But men have the ability to shut their brains off during sexual acts. They have this ability to just be really in the moment, be in the sensation, be in the feeling. I envy that about men. I'm sure a lot of women do, because with women, it's the complete fucking opposite. When we talk about sex, you never hear a man say, I wonder what I look like in this position. I wonder if my thigh looks too fat. Or you never hear a man go, I wonder if my O face turns my partner off. They literally don't give a fuck about a lot of things, right? They don't give a fuck about how they look during the act, and they don't give a fuck about how you look during the act, or the female or woman looks during the act. They are just there to be in the feeling, to enjoy the pleasure. They love every single aspect of sex. Granted, they have been given the permission by society in order to do so. When we look at sex, men are always praised, they're always put on a pedestal, they're always allowed to experience joy, to experience carnal fucking lust and desire at a soul level, because that's quote unquote, I've heard men have literally said, well, it's in our genetics. It's like, no, you guys have been given the permission to be allowed to feel these things. And I will specifically say, especially heterosexual men. Homosexual men, not so much. They've had to go through so much conditioning as well. But heterosexual men tend to get put up on this pedestal of like, yeah, go sow your oats. Go fucking out and sleep with whoever you want, whenever you want, to no consequence, right? This is even when we have a man who is promiscuous versus a female who is promiscuous. A male who's promiscuous is considered a player, a baller, a pimp. A female is considered a slut, a whore, a trollop. Do you hear the difference in like the positive reinforcement that goes into men's sexuality versus the negative reinforcement that goes into women's? And so when we look at the act of sex, men are allowed to just be there, be themselves, experience the pleasure. Women are conditioned from a young age to be almost, yeah, shameful of sex, right? Even when we look at sex centuries ago, it was always for the man's pleasure and the woman was just there to procreate. Even like I'm a big fan of period dramas. Adam's probably rolling his eyes in the next office because I love all of the old like English kings and queens. And literally, sex was just for the queen to get knocked up in order for the king to produce an heir. The king could go around and fuck as many people in his court. He could have as many mistresses as he wanted. If the queen was found to have a mistress of her own, she was typically killed. She was typically hung. She was typically something, right? It was the man can go and play and do whatever he wants. And sex is his God-given right. While with women, it is her God-given right to bear children. And the way she bears children is through sex. And so women are brought up to believe that sex isn't supposed to be really enjoyed to an extent, that it is purpose, that its main purpose is procreation. And like we've gotten far out of that, right? We are getting definitely more into a sex positive culture, but in the United States, we are the prudest of the prude when it comes to sex positivity. Other countries are far advanced than us. Other countries are far behind us, but we are a country that definitely still puts shame on women when it comes to sex. And also, it makes women feel like they need to show up a certain way during sex. So when we have the act of sex, a man comes in, and unless he's maybe stressed out about work or something big is going on in his life, he is just there in the moment. He's ready for it. The second the act begins, his brain shuts off and his body takes over. When a woman comes into sex, it is so hard for her to do all of that. Rather than her brain shutting off, her brain goes into almost a hyperdrive. And I am speaking on behalf of personal experiences myself before I started getting into embracing my sexuality, and from conversations that I've had with hundreds of thousands of women about sex. It is, I can't shut my brain off. My brain goes a million miles per hour. I get distracted easily during sex. I can't get in the moment. The moment needs to be just right in order for me to enjoy sex. So when men can come in and they can shut it the fuck off, women can't. When a woman walks into a room to have sex, she's ultimately, one, scanning the room, because that's just an innate thing for women to do in order to make sure that they feel safe within the room. So she's going to scan the room. She's going to see what's going on. And even like whether you're single, whether you're married, she's going to be looking at the domain and being like, God, this person is a fucking slob. Look at the laundry in the corner. Oh my God, has this guy even changed his bed sheets in the last few weeks? Or if they're married, it's like, oh my God, do you know how many dishes I have to do after this? Oh my God, I have to bring the kids to baseball or whatever it is. The second she enters that room, always, 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 always on in the brain. And then the second she starts getting into the act, this is where women tend to get what is called disruptive thoughts. Disruptive thoughts are when you are in the moment with sex and things are feeling good, and all of a sudden something just fucks it right the fuck up. And these, like, some people can call them intrusive thoughts as well. So this could be she's on top and she looks down at her leg and she gets like a glimpse of cellulite. And then she's like, oh my God, I looked so disgusting. Boom, pulls her out of the moment instantly. This could be where you guys are having sex and she like turns her head and sees that laundry sitting in the corner of the room and thinks, oh my God, I can't believe he didn't put that in the fucking laundry basket. Like I asked him to do it fucking 3 hours ago. Boom, she's pulled out of the thought. Sometimes it can be something that doesn't pertain to anything in that room or that situation. It can all of a sudden be like, fuck, I got to get dinner on the table really soon. We need to hurry this up. Her mind is going, and all these disruptive thoughts are coming through her head. On top of that, she is also dealing with so much societal conditioning. I laugh. It's not fucking funny. I got to stop doing that. So much societal conditioning when it comes to how she is supposed to look during sex, how she is supposed to act during sex, what sex is supposed to be about. Remember, she's been conditioned to believe that sex is about the male pleasure, or sometimes even with religious factors, sometimes it's procreation. That's what you're there for. And so a lot of women don't enjoy sex. They feel like it's too much and they receive too little from it, especially if a woman is not having an orgasm, or she's not coming, or she's not sexually satisfied. She's going to feel like she has to do all of this work for minimal reward. And then she walks into the room and thinks, oh my God, I need to show up like these women I've seen on porn, or I need to show up like these women I see in movies. Media gives us such an unrealistic expectation of what sex is supposed to look like. So if we look at porn in general, a lot of the women in porn are extremely attractive women. And more mainstream porn now definitely has a variety of types of women. But if you think a millennial generation, which is the generation I am, we grew up seeing like porn featuring like 120-pound super thin girls that could come so hard that they could basically squirt across the freaking room. And everything in porn is acted, right? Every level of orgasm she's having, every level of quote unquote satisfaction and pleasure that she's having is all acted. And so she's making these faces the entire time, but the faces are pretty faces, right? Because she can't look ugly while coming. She can't show her real face. It's usually like a pretty kind of face. Usually her body is in specific angles to make her body look really good. Her moaning is typically over dramatized, right? We have like them screaming, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it's so overdone. And so women walk into sex thinking that they have to look that specific way because that's the expectation of men who watch porn. And it's an unrealistic expectation on both ends, right? If we look at porn from the male point of view, typically men in porn have very large dick sizes. Like that's the whole part. Ron Jeremy, all of them. They're very attractive, 6-pack abs most of the time. They're like 10-inch dicks. And so when women are walking in being paranoid about every aspect of their body, typically the only thing men are being paranoid is about the size of their penis, because that's what porn tells them that like their worth is based off of. You can't make a girl come, you can't make a girl scream like the girl in porn unless you have a 10-inch dick. And with women, it is you have to look like this woman during sex the entire time, even though every aspect of it is fake. This is what men are seeing. This is what men really want. Is that true? Maybe. For some men. Is it true for all men? No, absolutely not. But this is what gets shoved down the throats of women growing up, so that they think that they've got to make these specific faces. They've always got to look great in all of these positions. God forbid her body make a noise, right? God forbid a noise comes out during sex and she is sitting there mortified because we don't hear noises during porn. We only really hear the pounding, that's all we hear. We don't hear all of the other bodily noises that happen during the act itself. And so even when something like that happens, women freak out. I get messages all the time of like, oh my God, well, it makes a noise after doggy style and he pulls out. Sometimes it makes a noise. Well, yeah, it's your body functioning. It fucking happens. Men don't give a fuck about the noises. It's women who give a fuck about the noises because of the fact that in porn, we don't hear noises. And so we think that that's how we're supposed to show up, right? Just like we shouldn't be like sweaty and gross. It's like at sex, you're being pounded from every different angle at a rapid speed. Of course, you're going to get sweaty and gross and your makeup, it's going to be fucking everywhere. Like it's going to happen. You cannot show up and look like this perfect being the entire time. That's not what this is about. And then we look at movies, right? And we see fake sex again being portrayed by two really good looking actors. And during it, the camera is getting every best angle of them during sex. And these sex scenes then make us think that's what we need to show up like. Once again, they're not real. Those actors are not having sex on set. I will never forget. I think it was a movie with Angelina Jolie. I think it was Antonio Banderas. I don't remember what movie, but they had this sex scene in it. I probably saw it, I think, when I was in high school, and both of them looked immaculate during it. They were so hot and so sexy and so beautiful. And I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, I don't look like that. I don't know even how to have sex like that. I was only like 17 at the time. But that's what we think we need to look like. And so many women come into sex with these expectations of, I even need to look pretty during sex because society tells women that they should be beautiful all the time. They should be wearing makeup. Oh, but not too much makeup, right? They should be wearing clothes that fit them, but that clothes that aren't too provocative. They're being told that their whole existence on this planet is based off their looks. And so they need to look pretty all of the time. And so your girl walks into sex and instantly thinks, oh my God, I probably look like shit in this position. This is the reason a lot of women tend to have sex with the lights off, have sex without like any mirrors or not facing any mirrors. A lot of reasons why, well, one of the many reasons why a lot of women won't film themselves during sex because they don't like the way that they look because they think that they are supposed to show up like these women in porn and these women in media, and it's just not realistic. And so they come into sex and they feel insecure as fuck already. And this doesn't even account for if your partner has some type of body insecurities. We're told that our boobs are supposed to be double D's, while our waist is supposed to be a size 0, while our ass is supposed to be able to be a shelf. We are told that our body is supposed to be in these proportions that are not realistic. We are told that our stomachs are supposed to be flat, that we're not supposed to have cellulite or wrinkles or fucking rolls or stretch marks. And so a bunch of women are coming into sex insecure as fuck. So fucking insecure. And especially even having sex before childbirth and after childbirth, because childbirth does change a woman's body completely in so many fucking ways. And so many women say, we used to have a great sex life and now I'm just so insecure about myself. I've had 3 kids. I don't look the same anymore. And the husband may be all about it, right? He may want it even more now. But the women have built this belief in their head that if they don't look like the girls in porn, then they don't deserve to feel pleasure and they don't deserve to have sex. And so this is kind of, I guess, an episode dedicated to giving y'all more information of like what may be going through your partner's head during sex and why sex has become a place of insecurity for them rather than a place of pleasure. If your girl or your partner is struggling to look at themselves naked in a mirror, they're going to be, they may not even let you see them naked in real life. They may hide it from you because think about it, when we're having sex, you're on full display, for the person that you're having sex with. There are a lot of women who will have sex with specific clothing items on so that they hide specific areas of their body. And you deserve so much fucking more than that mediocre shit. I really wish I could give women the capability of being able to shut their brains off like men can when it comes to sex. I don't think that we will ever have that capability. I don't think we'll be ever allowed to have that capability because society doesn't allow us to look at sex like this, like what it is, right? Sex is connection. Sex is intimacy. Sex is being at your most raw, vulnerable, primal aspect of yourself with another person. It is someone seeing you at the peak of your pleasure. They're going to see you in a way that no one else may see you, right? Depending on your partners, right? Or even like the aspect of every time you have sex is different. There is time where women will have sex and it will be okay sex. And then there will be times where women have sex and it's the most mind fucking earth shattering type of sex where they black out, they cry, they can't even remember who they are because they felt such extreme pleasure. Do you think in that moment when you were feeling that extreme pleasure, ladies, the person who is having sex with you goes, oh, her face looks weird? Fuck. No, that person is into every aspect of you. That person is so excited to see you at your peak of pleasure. That person is extremely turned on by watching you become the most primal version of yourself. That person just wants you to feel pleasure. And so a way that we as women have to move past this is to recognize, one, we have the permission to make sex an experience. We have permission to make sex mean that we get to experience the most pleasure possible in that moment. We are allowed to let it all go. Yeah. We are allowed to let it all go. We are allowed to forget that we have 6,432 errands to run after that act. We are allowed to forget that everyone needs us in that moment. We are allowed to forget the goddamn to-do list that is slamming in the back of our brains. You're allowed to shut it off. Yes, it's going to be 20 times harder for you to do it than a man. Absolutely. I'm not denying that before you sit here and say easier said than done, Amanda. I recognize that because there are times during sex now that I still have to focus. I have to shut it down. I have to try and shut my brain off. And sometimes it works and other times it doesn't. And I have to focus on the times that work more and making that a goal that I want to reach, that I want more sessions to be like that, where I can lose myself, where I can lose control, where I can lose everything and just be in that moment. But you have to recognize that you are allowed and you deserve that ability to be just in that moment. Sex is pleasure. Sex is connection. Sex is intimacy and vulnerability. It is the most beautiful thing on this planet that has been villainized by everybody. And people who don't have sex in their lives, they're not very happy people. They may say that like, oh, I can live without it. I don't really need it. But that level of intimacy is needed by everyone. Everyone deserves to feel that. And ladies, you deserve to be able to walk into a room or a freaking bathroom or who the fuck knows and be able to shut it down for that 5 to 15 minutes of pure bliss. You deserve the ability to feel that orgasmic release during it. So rather than focusing on everything and anything, focus on you. Focus on the pleasure. And this may take some practice. So, for example, your partner may need the lights off, and you have to be okay with that. I know that you want to see her, you want to see her in her glory, you want to see every aspect of her. But isn't it better to know that she's actually in the moment, feeling the moment, and loving every aspect of it rather than catching a glimpse of herself in the mirror and feeling insecure? You can bring in blindfolds so that one of you can shut it down, literally creating this pitch black darkness where you can just concentrate on the feeling of everything while the other person gets to stare and look and appreciate your body. It gets to be both. It can be both. It just takes communication in order for it to happen. Ladies, recognize that your bodies are beautiful and your partner is obsessed with your body and obsessed with you. They're obsessed with you. They love how you look in every angle. Whether you think you're attractive or not, they think you're always attractive. Whether it's reverse cowgirl, whether it's missionary, right? Like whether it's doggy style, they love to see you. So let them see you. Shut down the insecurities and allow yourself to feel that just urge of pleasure. There are men that come into sex that never worry about their body. And I mean, granted, men definitely suffer from some insecurities with their bodies, but I don't think at the level that women do. And they love every second of sex. They're able to put their body image aside in order to focus on the pleasure aspect of it. And ladies, you deserve the same. So recognize that you were allowed this pleasure. You're allowed to shut your brain off. And you are meaner to yourself on this planet than anyone else. And I will even, I don't know, add a caveat to that, that if you are with someone who is talking negatively about you during sex, sex is a privilege. It is not something that is just given lightly. It is not something that someone can just take. Do not allow people to forget that sleeping with you is a privilege. And do not sleep with people who do not appreciate your body and you every second of the time, even outside of the bedroom. If they are not respecting you, if they are treating you like shit, if they are saying negative things about your body, about, oh, I wish you used to like be as thin as you used to be. And ever since we had kids, you've let yourself go. Fuck that person. Fuck them. You deserve so much better in this world. And just because you've had one negative experience with a man doesn't mean every single experience moving forward will be bad. It comes down to trust. Sleep with people you trust with. Sleep with people who value you in and out of the bedroom. Sleep with people who want to be intimate and just want to be in that moment with you. And you are guaranteed to feel like a goddess the entire fucking time because your partner will ensure that you do. They will validate you as you validate you. So I hope this helped you all feel a little less insecure about sex, because sex is beautiful and it's something that should be enjoyed on just a fucking visceral cellular level by every single person without disruptive thoughts, without intrusive thoughts, without being pulled out of the moment. And if you like this episode, remember, please share it with whoever you want. And always remember, you can message me on Instagram, on TikTok at @the.AmandaKing, on Snapchat to come and just chat about this episode, your best takeaways, parts you agreed with, parts you may have different perspectives on. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Once again, thank you for being here, and I will catch you at the next episode. You guys, thank you so fucking much for listening to the Fierce as Fuck podcast with me. Remember, the key to being successful in your business is taking the information you learn here and reworking it to fit your business and your style. The most important thing you do now is move your ass. Don't sit on this information. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Take messy, inspired action and watch your business take quantum leaps in such a short amount of time. Be sure to join my Facebook community, the Fierce as Fuck Tribe, to get involved in a community full of badass bitches who are taking massive leaps, not only in their lives, but in their business as well. Oh, and of course, don't forget to head over to iTunes and leave me a review. Until next time, my beautiful bitches.